and welcome to the virtual hearing on the Commission of Judicial Appointments. As Chief Justice of California, I serve as Chair of the Commission. The other members of the Commission are Attorney General Rob Bonta and Presiding Justice Arthur Gilbert, and Janelle Baker serves as Secretary to the Commission. This hearing is to consider Governor Gavin Newsom's appointment of Judge Rashida Adams to the office of Associate Justice for the Court of Appeal, 2nd Appellate District, Division 3. The Commission is in receipt of a letter from Governor Newsom appointing Judge Adams to fill a vacancy that was created by the retirement of Justice Halim Danadina. The state constitution specifies that an appointment by the governor to the Court of Appeal is effective when confirmed by the Commission on Judicial Appointments. The Commission received correspondence pertaining to this appointment, and we made these letters available to the press and the public a few days ago. Pursuant to a request by Governor Newsom, the State Bar's Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation has undertaken an evaluation of the qualifications of Judge Adams for this position. Mr. Justin Palmer, Chair of that commission, is present to share the results of the evaluation later in these proceedings. Judge Adams has asked the following individuals to be called to testify on her behalf. I will list the speakers and then ask you to present your testimony. The Honorable Laurence D. Rubin, Presiding Justice for the Court of Appeal, 2nd Appellate District, Division 5, and the Honorable Lee Edmon, Presiding Justice for the Court of Appeal, 2nd Appellate District, Division 3. Welcome to both of you, and we invite Justice Rubin to the podium. Thank you.
Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Presiding Justice Gilbert, it is my great honor and pleasure to urge confirmation of Judge Rashida Adams to California Court of Appeal, 2nd Appellate District. I start my remarks with an historical fact. I was there when Rashida Adams first walked into the state building. This was probably in November 2007. Our dear friend and colleague Paul Bolin had just passed away preceding September, and this was a very difficult time in Division 8, where I was an Associate Justice. Also that November, Presiding Justice Candace Cooper had one of her research attorneys retire, and she was looking for a replacement. In walked Rashida Adams. The three of us had an interview that lasted about an hour, and afterwards Justice Cooper and I got together, and one of us said, "He's a gold mine." But out of fairness to the commission and to ensure the perception of me as an unbiased reporter in front of you, Justice Cooper did not hire Rashida Adams. She took one of Justice Bolin's research attorneys. After she made that decision, Justice Cooper and I got together and said, "We've just got to hire her. I mean, we don't have a judge, but she's just too good to miss out on this opportunity." She was hired not knowing with whom she would be working. Our hope was that we'd get a justice pro tem relatively soon, while the governor was considering the replacement for Justice Bolin. Hiring Judge Adams was one of the best decisions Justice Cooper ever made. In steps Judge Ann Edgerton, now a justice on this Court of Appeal. She was the first pro tem justice in our division, and Judge Adams worked with her for several months. It was a perfect match, even though they were both sort of rookies in the appellate process. Later, Justice Edgerton would support Judge Adams' appointment to the Superior Court and to this court. That should be enough to prove the point. But because there are pack rats among us, we have contemporaneous proof of Justice Edgerton's high regard for Judge Adams. Justice Cooper, Justice Edgerton, and I were were on a panel in one case. Justice Edgerton was the author. He circulated the opinion with a cover sheet, which allowed us to make comments about the opinion. I wrote back, truly an excellent opinion. It may have been more directed to Justice Edgerton, but she would not have it that way. She sent a copy to Judge Adams with, Rashida, I wanted you to see Justice Rubin's comment. I guess we now know who did the hard, heavy work on that opinion. We move on to June of 2008, and I promise I will not go year by year to the present. And the governor appoints Tricia Bigelow to Division 8. Her first major decision was to hire Rashida Adams. Sometime that year, maybe the following year, I was in Justice Bigelow's office and asked her how Rashida Adams was doing. She said, she's a star. Fortunately, Division 8 has a policy that justices may talk directly to the research attorneys of another justice. So I got to know Judge Adams well. We had a number of conversations about various cases, some authored by me, some by Justice Bigelow. She was just a tremendous resource, even throughout the division. Now, there may be a notion in some circles that attorneys often leave private practice, as Judge Adams did, expecting the hours at the Court of Appeal to be more manageable, and often they are. But our attorneys work very hard with long hours into the night and on weekend. Like many of us, they juggle family and work obligations. Often, Judge Adams would bring her daughter into her chambers, and we would have our case discussions right in front of her. Her daughter, Camille, seemed unmoved by the brilliance of our conversations. One day when she was probably 3, Camille came in, I came into Rashida's office, and the minute I walked in, Camille hid under her mother's desk. It was very clear I was not wanted there. But she seemed comfortable, and so Judge Adams and I continued on our conversation. I learned a lot about Judge Adams that day, her character, her common sense, her deep love of family, and her ability to stay cool and focused in what might have been an awkward situation. We finished our talk and things moved on. The qualities I just mentioned, along with her strong sense of fairness, keen intellect, excellent research and writing skills, and what I'd call a steel-trapped analytical mind, made me realize that she had become an integral part of all of Division 8, not merely Justice Bigelow's chambers. The traits that I have mentioned are the qualities of a Court of Appeal justice. After her appointment to the Superior Court, I followed her career, especially when she was assigned to the Dependency Court, from which we get a lot of appeals. Because of how closely we had worked together, I chose to recuse myself for the first 2 years of her assignment. And after that, I was assigned author in 2 appeals that I decided I would handle. Both were unanimous affirmances. Now, I say that with no pride or even happiness. It was just looking at a ruling and the record she had created. She did exactly what an appellate justice would expect from a skilled, dedicated, compassionate trial judge. She was appealed one other time, another division, affirmed that time as well, if we're keeping score. To close, I am reminded by Justice Bigelow's remark when we were in Division 8. She was a star. She became a star in the Superior Court. She was a star as a Justice Pro Tem in Division 3, and she will be a star when she's a full member of our court. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Justice Rubin, for your insight about the qualities of a Court of Appeal justice and also the personal characteristics about her being calm under pressure, her skill, and her compassion. We appreciate that. We next invite Justice Edmond to provide testimony.
Thank you. Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Presiding Justice Gilbert. Good afternoon. I am so honored and happy today to speak in favor of the appointment of Judge Rashida Adams as an Associate Justice of Division III of the Second Appellate District. I get to pick up where Justice Rubin left off in the story of Judge Adams' remarkable career. In 2017, thankfully, she was appointed to the Superior Court by Governor Jerry Brown. Not surprisingly, Judge Adams has been a superstar in every assignment she has had on the Superior Court. Her first assignment was one of the most challenging on the court, dependency. That was not an area in which Judge Adams had ever practiced, but that certainly would not slow her down. She dug right in, both to understand the law and to grasp the difficult and complicated situations of each and every family that came before her. Demonstrating what has been a consistent approach in every position she has held, she worked tirelessly to figure out the law and undertook the work of a dependency judge with compassion, diligence, and courage. And despite dealing with all of the difficult issues one faces in dependency, she was quoted as saying that she found the job incredibly rewarding. The most gratifying moment was when the cases were closed and the system worked, where the families solved the problems that brought them before the court. She had a lot of hope for those kids. Judge Adams was in the dependency assignment for 3 years, including during the pandemic, when dealing with urgent family issues was more complicated than ever. Not only did her supervising judge rave to me about Judge Adams' dedication while on the dependency court, perhaps the best indication of her success in that role was the e-card sent by the lawyers who appeared before her when she announced she was leaving that assignment. Let's just say I've never seen anything like this. The card was signed by lawyers who represented all sides in the dependency cases. They all expressed their gratitude for her dedication to the dependency court, and they all had a common theme. Judge Adams was an inspiration to them all. They appreciated how she treated everyone in the courtroom with respect, and her move to her next assignment would be a huge loss for the dependency court and for everyone who had the privilege of working with her. It was during her first assignment in dependency that Judge Adams came to us pro tem on the Court of Appeal in Division III, and we fell in love with her. She came to us in Division III to handle a jumbo, as everybody knows, our court lingo for an appellate record with thousands of pages. In this case, following a lengthy jury trial in a complex product liability case involving hordes of dueling experts and new scientific theories to either establish or refute liability on the question of whether the defendant's product caused plaintiff's ovarian cancer. Judge Adams tackled the entire appeal on her own, with no research attorney help, and authored a 50-plus page published opinion that reads as if it was written by a PhD in epidemiology. Let's just say it was clear from that experience that Judge Adams was brilliant, had a true passion for the law and for appellate work, and was perfect for this role. I will confess that at that point, we tried to lure Judge Adams to the Court of Appeal. We urged her to submit her application. In our view, she was a natural, but she very politely declined. Why? She said she really thought she needed to get more boots on the ground trial experience. She understood that it's a considerable advantage for an appellate justice to have trial experience, and she wanted to put the time in to get it. Pretty hard to argue with. So she returned to the Superior Court, where she was assigned first to a misdemeanor arraignment courtroom and then a misdemeanor trial courtroom, where she presided over jury trials. But that didn't last long. The leadership of the criminal courts recognized Judge Adams' extraordinary potential and assigned her to preside over an extremely high-volume felony collaborative justice court, which involved finding treatment solutions for defendants charged with felonies rather than simply incarcerating them. In that role, Judge Adams manifested a natural ability to communicate with and encourage defendants to succeed and to seek support to treat their mental health and substance abuse disorders. It was truly remarkable that the leadership placed that kind of confidence in Judge Adams, who at that time was a misdemeanor judge, to learn the law on felonies and felony sentencing, and to handle this courtroom, which on any given day may have as many as 90 matters on calendar. Of course, those of us who know Judge Adams understand that she can do anything she puts her mind to. Thankfully, we persuaded Judge Adams back to the Court of Appeal to serve with us in Division 3 as a pro tem for a few months in 2021 and then again in 2022. She demonstrated once again what an incredible jurist she is. She works harder than pretty much anyone I know. In order to help tackle the inventory, in 1 month, I recall that she wrote 4 or 5 dependency opinions all on her own. She is perceptive and insightful. Even when she's not the author of an opinion, she made our opinions better. Despite the fact that she was serving as a pro tem, she didn't hesitate to speak her mind, always in a polite, respectful manner. But in short, she's fearless. Judge Adams is not just an exceptional jurist, but also an exceptional person. She is kind and warm. She's committed to making our work environment collegial and collaborative by keeping an open mind and a willingness to listen. On the morning of the press conference from Governor Newsom's office, when they announced that Judge Adams had been nominated to Division 3, I got an email from a retired justice who used to work closely with Judge Adams. It had only 5 words. "You just won the lottery." And don't I know it? On behalf of all of us in Division 3, we are so grateful to Secretary Cespedes and to Governor Newsom for the nomination of Judge Adams to Division 3. We are anxious to have her part of the Division 3 family, and I urge you to confirm Judge Rashida Adams' appointment to the Court of Appeal. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Edmon, for presenting the testimony here today, the full picture of Judge Adams' path to where we are now. And I'm sure she benefited from the opportunity to work with you and your colleagues as well. Thank you. The Commission now invites the Chair of the Judicial Nominees Evaluation Commission, Mr. Justin Palmer, for the report of their evaluation.
Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Presiding Justice Gilbert. I'm honored to present this report on behalf of the Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation. To summarize the basis of the Commission's rating of Judge Rashida Adams for the Office of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal, 2nd Appellate District, Division 3. The Ginny Commission conducted its evaluation of Judge Adams on December 16, 2022, unanimously finding her to be exceptionally well qualified for service on the 2nd District Court of Appeal. According to Commission rules, that rating reflects the Commission's determination that Judge Adams possesses qualities and attributes of remarkable or extraordinary superiority that enable her to perform the appellate judicial function with distinction. Judge Adams was born and raised in the Bay Area. She attributes her strength, character, and discipline to her mother, who returned to college at 40 years old to continue her education despite difficult personal and family circumstances. Judge Adams fondly remembers going to college classes with her mother and volunteering at domestic violence shelters and nonprofit organizations that assisted grandparents raising children. These experiences taught Judge Adams the importance of education and caring for others. Judge Adams was an exceptional academic student. She graduated from the prestigious University High School in San Francisco and enrolled at Harvard University at 16 years old, earning a BA in African American Studies in 1998. During her junior year, Judge Adams decided to pursue a law degree, and she went on to attend Yale Law School with the idea of blending social work and the law, or approaching law through an academic lens. During law school, she participated in pro bono legal clinics, public interest internships, and nonprofit work. Judge Adams graduated in 2001 and passed the New York and Massachusetts bars that same year. She is also licensed to practice law in Washington, D.C. and California. Judge Adams returned to California in 2006 and began working in a small civil litigation firm where she represented clients facing white-collar criminal cases, employment discrimination for plaintiffs, and whistleblowers. After 7 years in civil litigation, she became a research attorney in the 2nd District Court of Appeal for the Honorable Tricia Bigelow, then presiding justice of Division 8. For 9 years, Judge Adams researched and wrote draft opinions in civil, criminal, juvenile dependency, family, and probate. In 2007, Judge Adams was appointed to her current position as a Los Angeles County Superior Court judge. In that role, she has managed juvenile dependency cases, misdemeanor arraignments and jury trials, a misdemeanor general calendar assignment, and an assignment in the felony collaborative courts, including mental health diversion. She has also served 3 times pro tem on the 2nd District Court of Appeal. Beyond her duties as a bench officer, Judge Adams devotes a significant amount of time to various legal committees and community organizations. She has been previously recognized as a top civil rights lawyer in the Washingtonian Magazine and authored several articles on the topics of legal ethics and professional responsibility. Judge Adams is a self-proclaimed avid beginning tennis player. She enjoys listening to classical music and spending time with her husband and daughter, who she describes as the light of her life. Judge Adams has had a remarkable career as a litigator, research attorney, and jurist. Through that career, she has developed a breadth of experience in trial and appellate practice in varied areas of substantive law. The Commission received feedback from multiple raters who praised Judge Adams for her thorough and thoughtful attention to detail and her curiosity about the law. Judge Adams has earned the uniform respect of litigants, staff, attorneys, and her colleagues on the court. Given her breadth of legal experience, commitment to the rule of law, and extraordinary writing skills, the Commission determined Judge Adams is exceptionally well qualified for the 2nd District Court of Appeal. As Jenny Commission Chair, it is my honor and privilege to appear at the confirmation hearing of Judge Rashida Adams on April 17, 2023, to testify as to the Commission's evaluation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Palmer, for the Commission's comprehensive work and for your report here today. We now invite Judge Adams to present a statement, if you wish, and also to answer any questions that the Commission may have.
Thank you. Members of the Commission, Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Presiding Justice Gilbert, I am honored and humbled to be here before you for the consideration of my appointment to the 2nd District Court of Appeal, Division 3. I would like to thank Governor Newsom for the appointment, as well as the careful consideration and assistance of Appointment Secretary Luis Cespedes and Deputy Appointment Secretary Gonzalo Martinez. I thank the JSAC, the LA County Bar, State Appellate, Judicial Evaluation Committee, and the Jenny Commission for their tireless efforts, including especially Jenny Commissioners Andrea Brown, Janine Craybill, and Corey Weber, as well as Commission Chair Justin Palmer. I am tremendously grateful to my speakers, Justice Larry Rubin and Justice Lee Edmon, and to my family and friends, many of whom are watching this remotely. I submit on the record before you, and Chief Justice, I would be honored to answer any questions from the Commission.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Judge Adams?
Well, here I go again. I guess I've been a judge so long, I just can't stop asking questions. But a few things. all the justices that you work for are dear friends of mine and colleagues. And I have such great respect for all of them. And boy, I just have to say again, Governor Newsom and the stalwart Luis Cespedes, you're hitting it out of the ballpark every single time. We just have a wonderful court, and you have such an impressive background. I'm just so pleased that you're going to be a colleague. And I hope we can get together and talk about something. I just want to ask you a quick question. When you were in Division 8, Division 8 has the same situation that we have that I've promoted in Division 6. I want all the research attorneys and all the justices to be able to speak to one another. If I have a case that I'm working on, and there's a research attorney working on it, one of the justices doesn't have to come to me first. They can go to the research attorney. And our view is by doing that, we get the best possible product, the best possible opinion. I want everybody's input because it's better for the public, it's better for me, it's better for the court. How do you view that? I mean, I've already signaled what I think about it. How did it work in Division 8? What's your impression of that?
Well, when I was a research attorney, as you've heard from Justice Rubin, we did have a practice of attorneys and justices speaking, and I found that helpful as a research attorney. I know that in my time sitting pro tem in Division 3, I've on occasion had conversations with the research attorneys on various cases, either with or without the justice. And overall, I think it can be a really helpful practice. Our research attorneys are a really critical part of the work that we do, and their feedback. I mean, I'm biased because I was a research attorney, but their feedback and their expertise in work is really critical. So I think it's often very helpful for there to be open communication between the justices in the division and the attorneys who are working on each particular case.
There's such a crush of cases that I think the research attorneys are the lifeblood of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. And I know the opinions that have come out of Division 8 and your work as a pro tem show you to be just absolutely one of the top. You're going to be you are already, you will be one of the top jurists in our state. I'm thrilled to have you as a colleague. See, I gave my vote away again. Sorry.
Thank you, Justice Gilbert. Attorney General Bonta.
Good afternoon, Judge Adams. I'm thankful to have an opportunity to be part of your confirmation hearing, and I was enjoying reviewing the materials, including seeing your commitment to pro bono work, active pro bono work when you were in private practice, and then your ongoing commitment to being involved in civic and community organizations. Can you just share a little bit about why that's important to you?
Sure. Well, for many people, approaching the legal system is not always it can be a fraught experience, let's say. For many individual litigants who are coming to our courts, it is in a situation that may be more negative than positive. And I think one of the great benefits of judges being active in the community is to give a well-rounded perspective to individuals in the community about the legal system, about the rule of law, about the role that judges and lawyers play. So I always really have relished an opportunity to interact with individuals in our community in a way that's not just me on the bench and them coming with a legal problem, but to be able to show a different side of the judiciary. And that was true as a lawyer and as a judge. One of the programs that I participated in when I was a research attorney was the Appellate court experience, where we went to classrooms, high school classrooms, taught a brief session about appellate law, and then accompanied students to the court to witness an oral argument. And I think that opportunities like that are so critical to boost civics education, to educate the community about the role of the courts, and to allow individuals to get an understanding of the courts and what they do in a situation where they're not actually presenting a legal problem to the courts. That's really the why of why I have found it so important throughout my career.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General Bonta. Judge Adams, I have just a comment and a question. My comment is I very much enjoyed reading your materials, and in particular the questionnaire responses that you provided. And one of those responses asked what the most important qualities are for a Court of Appeal justice. And I was interested in your answer. One of the characteristics that you pointed out was humility. And in the context of that response, you also pointed out the importance of showing appropriate deference to the trial court findings and rulings. And we heard from Justice Edmond that you found it important to have been a trial court judge. If you could explain to us a little bit more about why you felt that was important and how you believe that will assist you going forward.
Sure. Well, I mean, my response to that question and the idea of humility really has to do with following the law and the rule of law and recognizing the different standards of review that we have and the different roles between the trial court and the Court of Appeal. Sitting in the trial court, there are many decisions that are discretionary, and the reason for that often has to do with what the trial judge sees, which the appellate court cannot see. And that's something that I experienced firsthand and felt very viscerally in my different experiences being on the trial court and being a research attorney and sitting as a pro tem justice. In the trial court, we are across from the litigants. We're next to witnesses who are testifying. The trial court is really in the position to make decisions about credibility based on all sorts of things that don't necessarily appear in a cold record. And because of that, we have standards of review that recognize those different roles. It's always been very important to me to abide by that and to apply the correct standard of review, to afford deference where it's appropriately given, so that we can make sure that we're actually respecting those differences because there is a real reason behind them. And I think there's humility in understanding that even on the Court of Appeal, we don't know everything. We're not seeing everything. We have measures in place that make sure that we're following the law and making the decisions to the best of our ability based on the information that we actually do have.
Thank you very much. This completes the list of witnesses who are testifying here today. Are the members of the commission ready to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor of confirming Judge Rashida Adams for this position, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. On this record and correspondence received, the Commission finds Judge Rashida Adams qualified to be an Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal for the 2nd Appellate District, Division 3, and we confirm her appointment. Congratulations, Justice Adams.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
The formal portion of the hearing is adjourned, and Justice Adams has asked me to administer her oath of office. The Commission's paperwork was handled remotely, and so we're ready whenever you are, Justice Adams. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Rashida Adams,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you and congratulations. And you're now welcome to stop. You're now welcome to say a few remarks.
All right, thank you. Thank you to the Commission for your vote confirming my appointment, and thank you to the Commission staff, including Ms. Janelle Baker. I thank the Jenny Commission again for their careful consideration of my qualifications. I'd like to thank all of the 2nd District Court of Appeal staff who made this hearing possible, including Clerk of Court Eva McClintock and Laura Johnson, and everyone who has worked behind the scenes today. Thank you to my new colleagues in the 2nd District, and in particular in Division 3, Justice Edmon, Justice Ann Edgerton, and Justice Lewis Lavin, as well as all of the attorneys and staff in the division. The entire division has always made me feel so welcome and have always been so generous in welcoming me. And I am honored and overjoyed to be joining all of you on a permanent basis. I'm grateful to so many who have helped me to reach this moment, and I'm sorry that I could only thank a few of those people individually when the list really could go on for quite some time. But I'd like to thank Deborah Katz, who gave me my first legal job out of law school and who wrote a letter on my behalf supporting my appointment. And thank you to all of my former colleagues from Washington, D.C. They've all remained my friends and supporters. Thank you to my former colleagues at the law firm Caldwell Leslie, including the partners who hired and mentored me, Chris Caldwell, Michael Leslie, Mary Newcomb, David Pettit, and Michael Proctor. My colleagues from that firm are the ones who first helped me make a home out of Southern California, both professionally and personally. Thank you to all of my colleagues, friends, and mentors from the Los Angeles Superior Court. I thank Presiding Judge Samantha Jessner and Assistant Presiding Judge Sergio Tapia for their leadership and support. Part of the deep pleasure and joy I have experienced as a trial court judge has come from my relationships with other judges in the Superior Court who were always willing to share their knowledge and expertise with me. And that has been true of the supervising judges who've been incredible mentors and friends, Judge Sam Oda, Judge Akemi Arakaki, and now District Court Judge Mame Frimpong. And it was also true of my many other colleagues, my buddy courts, my confidants, my friends who I have called time and time again. I consider myself extremely fortunate to have been surrounded by colleagues who care so deeply about the law, justice, and serving our community. To all of my LA Superior Court colleagues, I'm honored to have served with you. I also thank the Association of African American California Judicial Officers. It has been so meaningful and important to me to have your support and encouragement. Thank you to my Court of Appeal colleagues, really my Court of Appeal family. As you've heard, I started working at the Court of Appeal in 2008, and I stayed until I was appointed to the trial court in 2017. In those years, I got to know our devoted, hardworking maintenance staff all the nights I worked late. I got advice from our kindly reception and administrative staff about being a new parent. I had the support and camaraderie of the incredible cadre of research attorneys, some of whom remain my best and truest friends. And I was mentored by numerous justices as an attorney when I sought appointment to the trial court bench and after I became a judge. And that included the justices in Division 8 at the time, Justice Candace Cooper, who first hired me, as you've heard, Justice Rubin, who has remained a steadfast mentor and friend, Justice Madeline Flyer, and Justice Elizabeth Grimes, as well as Administrative Presiding Justice Elwood Louie, who let me keep returning to sit as a pro tem. My foremost mentor was the justice that I worked for, Justice Tricia Bigelow. Justice Bigelow hired me when she was appointed to Division 8, and I could not have asked for a better position or a better boss. I learned so much from her about being a judge, about making decisions, the importance of respecting the rule of law and the need to continue contributing to the legal community, not only by our primary work, but through teaching, committee work, and mentoring. Her confidence in me and what I could accomplish has been a constant support. So I thank you, Justice Bigelow. I'm pretty sure she's watching today. I would also like to thank my family, both my immediate family, all of whom I know are online, and the family I've gained through marriage, my husband's parents, Tom and Judy Calais, my sister-in-law, Shannon Dolan, my husband's aunt, Karen Calais, and the other Calais and Howard family who are watching and supporting me from afar. As I was being considered for appointment to the Court of Appeal, I found myself talking a lot about and expressing a lot of gratitude for my mother, Barbara Adams. She taught me by example about determination and how important it is to care for those around us. My mother's life has not always been easy or uncomplicated, and every day I feel amazed and thankful for the path that she set me and my siblings on. I also thank my siblings, Trianza and Marcus Adams, the best big sister and big brother anyone could ever hope for. I've always been able to count on them, and their love and support has been immeasurable. I have two nieces, Zakia and Miari, and they're both juniors in high school, and I'm so grateful and proud to be able to show them just a sliver of what they can accomplish as they can start to make their own way in the world. I'd like to thank my own daughter, Camille, who is kind of a Court of Appeal baby. I was pregnant with her while I was at the court, and I was actually at court, at work in the building the day before she was born. That day I was planning to have a quick doctor's visit and then come back to work for lunch plans. I went to the doctor, but never made it back for lunch. After she was born, Camille went to daycare and preschool in the child care facility that was downstairs from my office. So everyone at the court got to see her grow from 0 to 5. She's much older now, of course, but even though I don't get to bring her to work with me every day, she's still just as close in my mind and in my heart in everything that I do. I have to thank my husband, Aaron Calais. With every career opportunity I've had, Aaron has always asked one question: do you want to do it? And then if the answer is yes, his response has always been, I think you should do it. We'll make it work. And then he's taken steps to actually make it work. So I'm so thankful to have him by my side. And finally, I express my deep gratitude and acknowledge the debt that I owe those who've come before me and blazed the trails that I walk on today. When you pass through the hallways of the 2nd District in Los Angeles, there are photographic portraits of all of the past and current justices. I walked those hallways as a research attorney every day. And when you look at the portraits, it can take a while before you get to a woman or a person of color. But my eye always landed on the portraits of Justice Vano Spencer and Justice Arlie Woods. I never had the opportunity to meet either justice, but I was inspired by those portraits, those spots of difference up on those walls. I was also inspired by Justice Cooper, who has been generous with her advice and support, and Justice Audrey Collins, who I'm now honored to serve alongside. I'm humbled and I'm honored to join their ranks, and I thank the governor and the commission for giving me that opportunity. Every day, I will be trying to live up to their example as distinguished jurists and public servants, and to be a role model for all those who will come after me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Justice Adams, for those beautiful remarks, and we look forward to your future in this new role. Thank you. This concludes the COJA hearing for today. Thank you to my panel members.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.